Everybody, it's Leroy from Leroy Gaming, and it is Thursday, July 29th, and that means it is time for another Outriders Thursday Dev News Update. So, in today's update, we got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is relating to the patch release time. The good news is related to some interesting information on legendary sets. Let's see what the Dev News says about this and more right now. Okay, guys, let's jump into things and take a look at first the bad news about the patch news. So the devs say the latest patch is still causing us a bit of a headache regards to crash on boot issue. These problems are as frustrating for us as they are for you having to wait. Now I want to point out, I don't know about you guys, but I've actually been having crash on boot issues right now, like since the last patch. In fact, I think I've crashed more times since this last patch than I have ever crashed, and it's been very, very odd. I know, like, even at the beginning of last night's stream, we crashed like 3 or 4 times. Actually, I ended up having to boot on DX11 for it to not crash, which was, again, random and out of nowhere. So I don't think this is an issue with this new updated patch. I think this is something that was introduced with the last patch as well. But let's move on and go on what they see what they say. So we really want to get this patch into your hands for you to try out, so that we can progress the follow-up patches and improvements, which we are sure you will also greatly appreciate. But we need to temper that desire with a need to ensure that the patch foundation is solid and stable. While we're not ready to release the patch today, we have geared ourselves up to be ready to go the moment we've addressed the mitigation issue, mitigate against the current issue. So while we can't specify an exact release date right now, the release date is essentially as soon as the issue is resolved, which means it could be quite soon or perhaps a little longer. Now, again, I don't think they've ever released a patch like on a random Monday or Wednesday or Saturday or Sunday. So I am going to optimistically say that it's likely the earliest we're going to see it is Tuesday. But I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong, but again, I doubt I am in this case. So if you're keen to check the patch content, you can do so here. That was they have a link to last week's post. And again, if you want to see me talk about that, you can check out my last week's video, last Thursday's news update on the upcoming patch. But let's see what other general news there is, and there is some interesting stuff here that really perked my ears up. So we're really looking forward to getting this patch out to you and seeing what kind of fun you can get up to with the new build options. So there's going to be some new build options, but as I mentioned in my comments in my video last Thursday, this is also more buffing builds that were already really powerful, especially with the Pyromancer. With that being said, I do think there's going to be some diversity, which is good, or new diversity. Now, once this current raft of announced changes have been in play for a short while, again, what is the definition of this for short while? I'm hoping like 2 days, but I think I'm being overly optimistic here. We will also be taking a look at the most underused legendary sets in the game and seeing what we can do to make them more viable. Thank you. Because let's be honest, when it comes to the Pyromancer, the only set that is used on a wide basis is the Akari set. The Technomancer technically has 2 sets that are going to be useful. Moriala's Monarch is going to be now viable since the patch hits, and then the other set that's useful is the one that basically, lets you spawn to multiple like landmines, which is, that one is decent as well for that class. For the Devastator, again, we got basically the only set that's really used as Seismic Commander, and Trickster is also in a rough place. Like, honestly, the only set that gives you a DPS increase right now is going to be technically the Edge of Time. All the other ones, while they are functional and utility buffs, they don't increase DPS. And when you have sets like the Akari set that again can increase your DPS by 2, 3, 4, 500%, when you have the Borealis Monarch that's at least going to increase your DPS by 90%, and then everything else, feeling kind of weak. I mean, even the Edge of Time is 100% extra damage. Granted, it's only for two different abilities, but they're pretty decent abilities. At least the Temporal Slice ability is interesting. So all the other sets, for the most part, they just don't keep up. The Devastator does have the one set that increases your firepower by 100% and your life leech by 100%. It wasn't lasting as long as it was supposed to. Now they are supposedly fixing that. But again, in my original testing, when I tried to do a firepower build with the Devastator, it still wasn't working out well. Would love to hear your feedback. Did you effectively utilize any of the other sets successfully before this patch? And of course, once the patch does hit, would love to hear you guys' opinions on what sets you think still need some reworks. Now, while they are looking at these legendary sets, I think they need to go further than just look at some balancing numbers. I think two things need to be done. I think in order for the other sets to compete with the Akari sets, as well as the Borealis Monarch set, as an example, all the sets should have significant damage increases as the set bonuses. Not just utility elements, like I believe there is a Trickster set bonus. When you're in a bubble, you can't die. That was cute. When you're talking about the game coming out, in functionality, in reality, functionally, it's useless. And people don't die that are good at playing this game. Or at the very least, if you're gonna die, it's gonna happen randomly. It's unlikely to happen during those couple of seconds when you have that bubble up. So I think realistically, if the developer wants people to use the sets, they need to all be DPS boosts. Like, they don't all have to be like broad DPS increases. That's, I think, the problem of like the Akari set. It's so good for almost every build for the Pyromancer. I kind of like the Edge of Time focus, where it's significant damage increases, but for like 1 or 2 skills. And I think that's smart. Why not have, there are, 3 to 4 sets, right? Have each set increase dramatically the DPS and some functionality of 2 skills. Something along those lines would be much, much useful. The other thing that I think they should address is the balancing of the actual stats, the optimization of stats on the set pieces. Some of them make no sense whatsoever. They know, just probably from gathering data or probably from the way that their skills were built, what sets are going to be utilized with either firepower or anomaly power, and you should have the best in slot stats for it. So like not healing increase, for example. So it should be like long range damage, close range damage, for example. Maybe skill leech, maybe status power. Those elements, very, very focused. And most importantly, we know that right now, outside of the cannonball sets, there are no gloves or boots that have firepower and anomaly power as primary stats. This is a big problem. This is why you do not see any builds except for very niche situations where a chest, helmet, or leg piece has 2 mods that just do not work for a build. So outside of that scenario, you do not see anybody utilize gloves or boots, set pieces, for the actual builds, the optimized builds, because nobody wants max health under their items. So if they want those to be viable, just put the best in slot stats on it. That's the whole point. They're already hard enough to get compared to normal loots. Make them worthwhile. So again, make sure that the set bonuses are really, really good, and make sure they have optimized stats, and that should help out. That's my thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below. One final note in closing, the delay of a patch such as this does not materially affect any of the work, fixes, and quality of life improvements we have planned for the future. Those are still coming, and we'll discuss publicly when we have proper data date for the release. So again, they're saying for the fixes, quality of life improvements. So we don't, it's interesting what they have planned. I wish they also had thrown in content, because this game desperately needs some news on more new content. Even if it's a couple months down the line, you get people excited that it's that more will hopefully be coming, but we shall see. Now, I did want to point out a couple of key things when they're talking about here, ongoing list of current tracked issues. Most of these were the same as before. They did emphasize a couple of new elements. So entering the drained lake during the third enemy encounter in the Scorched Land expedition can cause client players to stutter. So this is when you kind of hit the little mechanism at the end and the water drains. That was causing a lot of people issues. We already know, I just want to reemphasize, game stuttering when multiple crawlers are on screen. And again, it doesn't matter how powerful your graphic card is. This is a huge pain in the butt. Let's see here. This one right here, I don't know if I'm not sure if they had this before or not, but I did want to emphasize because they did fix they buffed pain transfer, the tier 3 mod for Trickster, but now they're saying if you use it with either tier 2 or tier 3 damage link, mod will drastically reduce frame rates. So this is big. I hope this comes out with this patch, because I could see somebody wanting to use this combo, and then, you know, if this doesn't get fixed, because pain transfer is even more powerful now, that could cause even more issues. Again, Technomancer Plague Sour set does not consistently apply its bonus. Another problem with Technomancer sets. And the other thing I want to point out here is this does not mention the despair bug on the Devastator set. So I'm really, or not set, but the mod. And this is a really good tier 3 mod that after you do basically the jump attack for 5 seconds, it increases your AP dramatically. So that is a really good mod. It's a tier 3 mod that hasn't worked since release. It's no longer on this list. I didn't see it on the patch note list last week of things that were going to be changed, but hopefully they will be. All right, guys, that's everything for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you found it helpful. As always, if you enjoy this content, want to support the channel, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I drop these videos. And again, if you want to support the channel, make sure to check out the link below to our merch store to get some sweet t-shirts, some sweet mugs, etc. Every dollar you spend on there helps support this channel directly. And I will see you guys on the next stream on Twitch, on twitch.tv/Leeroy Gaming Stream, and in the next video.